Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. DEKE sat in the back of the squad car, his wrists cuffed too tightly, the metal stinging into his skin whenever the car hit a pothole on Mulholland Drive. The lights stopped blinking. The officers had killed them as soon as they departed the ridge where the incident occurred. There's no need for a circus. Not yet. The city already knew. Someone had live-streamed the entire incident from a phone propped up on a dashboard. Luna Spencer sprawled against the railing like a discarded doll, blood seeping under her blonde hair, catching the moonlight in an almost lovely way until you understood what you were looking at. He kept repeating the seconds before impact. Luna stepped off the curb outside the Forrester party, smiling at something Steffi had said into her ear. The way her silver outfit reflected the valet lights. She whirled, startled, as his headlight beam raced across her face. The way her mouth formed his name, DEKE, as the bumper kissed her ribcage and the universe split in two. He hadn't been drinking. That was the part nobody believed. He had 2 drinks all night, spaced out by hours, because he was meant to drive Luna home. She had asked him to. I texted him at 11:47 p.m. I can't find my keys, and Liam is acting odd again. Please come fetch me. He responded with a thumbs-up emoji and departed the pub in Venice without completing his drink. Now the investigator in the passenger seat turned around, his face etched with age and disappointment. You remember who she was, right? DEKE nodded once. The action caused the cuffs to clink. Say it, the detective insisted. I'm Luna Spencer. Logan and Forrester. The new face of hope for the future. His voice cracked on the final word like a teenager's. He despised that. The detective exchanged looks with the driver in uniform. They didn't have to say it out loud, but this one was going to be a nightmare. Press vans had already gathered outside the West LA station, like birds on a wire. At the station, they led him past the bullpen. The phones were ringing off the hook. Someone had printed a screenshot from the broadcast and taped it to a whiteboard. Luna on the asphalt, one shoe missing, her manicured hand groping for nothing. Someone else has written in red marker beneath it, manslaughter or murder 2. They put him in interrogation room 3, which had faulty air conditioning and smelled of old burritos and misery. 10 minutes later, a female investigator came with a folder in hand and a ponytail so tight it appeared uncomfortable. She identified herself as Ramirez and did not offer to remove the cuff. Tell me what happened, DEKE. He told her. Every information he could extract from the static in his thoughts. Luna had been outraged inside the party, since Finn had arrived with Sheila Carter on his arm, as if it were nothing. How she swallowed 3 flutes of champagne before anyone could stop her. She kissed DEKE at the coat check to make Liam jealous, then giggled and said, Sorry, I'm a mess tonight. She insisted on walking to the valet herself because she needed fresh air. He'd circled the block twice looking for parking, and when he finally found a spot up the hill, he floored it since his phone kept exploding up with texts from her asking where she was. I'm outside. It's cold. He told Ramirez about the text he hadn't seen until later. Never mind, Liam found me. He described how the road curved sharper than he remembered, how his phone buzzed again, this time a call from his sister, and how he looked down for half a second to turn it off. Half a second. That was all. When he looked up, Luna was present. In the center of the roadway. Liam's back was to her, and he was yelling something at the valet. Luna had moved away from him, her phone to her ear, possibly contacting DEKE again. Consider phoning someone else. She gave him a direct glance. Her lips moved. He still wasn't sure what she said. The automobile did not even squeal. The impact was milder than he had expected, almost like hitting a deer. The second thump occurred when she rolled up the hood and over. The engine ticked as it cooled, but otherwise there was silence. Ramirez listened but did not write anything down. When he was done, she opened the folder and passed a photograph over the table. Luna's driver's license photo, which shows her beaming as if she's concealing the best secret in the world. She was 3 days from turning 25, Ramirez explained. DEKE closed his eyes. He could still smell her scent on his jacket after the coat check kiss. Something about Gardenius and peril. Hope Logan stood in the foyer of the Forrester estate, yelling at no one in particular. Her mascara had created black rivers on her cheeks. Eric sat on the bottom stair, head in his hands. Ridge continued to pace, phone in his ear, yelling commands at lawyers who were slow to respond. Brooke hovered near the doorway, as if she could float away if someone touched her. Steffi arrived still wearing the white blazer she had worn to the party, now splattered in Luna's blood where she had attempted to stop the bleeding with her bare hands. Finn stood right behind her, face ashen, saying, "I didn't know Sheila was coming. I swear I didn't know." Liam stood in the corner, staring at his phone and playing the live stream on silent. In the footage, you can see man haggling with the valet over his Tesla. Luna stepped backward into the roadway without looking. You could see the black SUV emerge out of nowhere, its headlights dazzling, and Luna's body lift off the ground as if someone had tugged her up on invisible wires. He continued focusing on her face at the point of impact, attempting to read her lips. Some individuals on X already claimed she said Liam, while others said it was Mom. A smaller, angrier section insisted she uttered DEKE as an allegation. At the station, they finally uncuffed DEKE enough to fingerprint him. The ink was cold and sticky. While the technician rolled his thumb across the glass plate, DEKE requested if he might make a call. They allowed him to use the desk phone in the bullpen because his personal phone was now considered evidence. He phoned the only number he remembered by heart anymore. His mother picked up the second ring. He said, "Mom," and nothing else came out. "DEKE? What's wrong, baby? Why does it sound like a police station?" He began crying suddenly, the type that comes from someplace behind the ribcage and tears everything apart on its way out. And police nearby pretended he didn't notice. By morning, the narrative had some teeth. TMZ obtained dashcam footage from a parked Lyft. The driver, a Glendale native, sold it for enough money to pay off his college loans. After the crash, DEKE could be heard repeatedly screaming Luna's name as he stumbled out of the car and dropped to his knees near her. You could see him try to bring her into his arms, her blood pouring through his white shirt right away. You could see Liam turn around while DEKE cuddled her, as well as the expression on Liam's face as he understood what he was watching. The clip ended with DEKE rocking her and whispering, I'm here, I got you," despite the fact that she had already left. The internet did exactly what it does. Half of X concluded that DEKE was a monster who had been pursuing Luna for months. The other half hailed him as a tragic hero who had simply been attempting to help. Someone found a photo of them together from a Hope for the Future shot 6 months ago, Luna giggling, DEKE adjusting a light meter, both looking sun-kissed and innocent. The caption read, "They were in love, but nobody knew." Hope noticed the post and tossed her phone across the room, shattering the mirror over the fireplace. At the county jail, DEKE was thrown in a holding cell alongside a drunk who kept calling him pretty boy and a man caught for boosting catalytic converters who recognized him right away. "Are you the one who killed that rich girl?" the guy inquired. DEKE did not respond. He sat on the bench, his head against the cinderblock wall, and looked at the floor's scuff marks until they blurred. The bail was set at $2 million. Nobody in his family owned $200, let alone $2 million. A public defender arrived Monday morning, tie crooked, coffee breath, and already fatigued. "They're pushing for vehicular homicide while intoxicated," she stated without explanation. "I wasn't drunk. It doesn't matter. Your blood alcohol level was 0.06. The legal limit is 0.08, but the district attorney's office wants a scalp." Forrester and Logan's money is loud. DEKE laughed with a dry, cracked tone. Luna hated when people used her family name like currency. The public defender shrugged. Dead girls don't get to hate anything anymore. Outside, the reporters gathered on the courthouse steps. When they brought DEKE out for his arraignment, someone tossed a rotten tomato, which splattered across his orange jumpsuit. Someone else held up a large photograph of Luna smiling. Someone else yelled that he should burn in hell. Inside the courtroom, Ridge Forrester sat in the first row, accompanied by 2 lawyers who appeared to be eating nails for breakfast. Brooke was beside him, her eyes red, clutching a rosary, despite the fact that she was not Catholic. When DEKE came, Hope rose up, as if to say something, but Ridge placed a hand on her arm, and she sat back down. The court read the charges: vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence, hit and run resulting in death, since DEKE had pushed the car 3 feet to get it off Luna's scarf, and a misdemeanor for the open container discovered in his cup holder, the second beer he never finished. DEKE pleaded not guilty because the public defender told him to. When they inquired if he had anything to say, he looked directly at Hope and replied, "I apologize. I loved her." Hope made the sound of a wounded animal. Brooke pressed her cheek on Ridge's shoulder. The judge hit the gavel so forcefully that the handle shattered. That night, in the jail common area, the television was set to Entertainment Tonight. They were airing a retrospective of Luna's life, including birth images, her first runway performance at 16, a viral video of her singing "Happy Birthday" to Thomas in Paris, and paparazzi shots of her leaving Liam's house in tears last month. The host described her as the brightest light in Los Angeles, cruelly extinguished. Then they went to DEKE's file footage from 2 years ago, when he was just another photographer's helper on a Forrester shoot. In the video, he hands Luna a bottle of water and smiles shyly as she thanks him. The cheering beneath said, "From friend to killer?" An inmate laughed. "Man, you are so fucked." DEKE did not sleep. He kept noticing Luna's big, astonished eyes in the headlights, reflecting back at him like twin moons. He kept hearing the quiet thud as her body crumpled. He kept smelling gardenias. 3 days later, the toxicological report was returned. Luna's blood alcohol level was 0.14, over twice the legal limit, with traces of cocaine and Xanax. The DA attempted to suppress it. The public defender disclosed it to the press within 1 hour. Suddenly, the narrative broke open. Talk shows argued victim blaming versus accountability. Hope appeared on the talk and cried prettily, swearing Luna had been sober that night. Steffi went on a podcast and suggested that everyone calm down and wait for facts. Liam shared a black square on Instagram with the comment, "Justice for Lou." But the harm had been done. The people sensed blood in the water that wasn't DEKE's anymore. At the preliminary hearing, the prosecutor portrayed DEKE as obsessed, a nobody who had inserted himself into Luna's life, was continuously texting her, and had arrived uninvited to the party. They had screenshots. They had witnesses who claimed he had been watching her all night like a lovesick puppy. The public defender responded with Luna's own texts, "I wish you had been my date tonight." And the one from 2 weeks ago, "Sometimes I think you're the only one who sees me, not the Forrester-Logan hybrid." The judge ordered DEKE to appear for trial. The bail was decreased to $1 million. It was posted on the same day by an anonymous donor. Rumors circulated that it was Luna's biological father, Bill Spencer, who had never publicly acknowledged her, but reportedly still remained in touch. When DEKE went out of jail, the son smacked his face like a punishment. A swarm of reporters rushed him. Microphones were aimed at his mouth.
DEKE.
Do you believe Luna's drug use excused what you did?
DEKE.
Were you in love with her?
DEKE.
Do you have a message for the Forrester family? He paused on the steps and stared directly into the nearest camera. "I think about her every second," he admitted. "I remember how she laughed with her entire body. She always took fries from my plate, even though she had her own. She stated my name as if it mattered. I'll remember the way she stared at me for a long time." Then he entered the waiting automobile and closed the door. The trial began in March, with a sky the color of dishwater. The jury consisted of 12 people who claimed to have never seen a soap opera in their lives, which was statistically improbable in Los Angeles. The prosecution called in accident reconstruction experts who indicated DEKE was doing 42 in a 25. They brought in toxicologists who stated that even at 0.06, reaction times are affected. They called in a psychologist to testify about transference and how lonely young men can focus on unattainable women, with tragic consequences. The defense presented bar receipts showing DEKE had ended his tab at 10:12 p.m. They called in character witnesses, the makeup artist, who claimed Luna had been texting DEKE all night, imploring him to come fetch her, and the bouncer, who saw her leave alone and crying. Finn, dressed in a navy suit, addressed the stand, and admitted that Sheila caused Luna's spiral that night. He felt responsible and believed that he should have handled things better. Hope testified on day 9. She donned a black dress and minimal makeup, making her appear younger than Luna had been. She discussed finding Luna's diary after the accident and how page after page referenced DEKE, how kind he was, how comfortable she felt with him, how she was afraid of ruining their friendship since Liam kept coming back and she didn't know how to say no anymore. When the prosecutor inquired whether Luna had ever expressed fear of the defendant, Hope glanced directly at DEKE and stated, she was frightened of hurting him. That is what she wrote on the night she died. I think I'm falling for DEKE, which scares me because I wreck everything I touch. Except for one person sobbing in the back row, the courtroom was silent. It was Brooke. On the final day of testimony, they showed the dashcam again. This time, in slow motion. Frame after frame, Luna stepped out into the street, phone to her ear, mouth creating a word no one could agree on. DEKE's brake lights never came on because he moved his foot too late. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they returned, the foreman stood to read the verdict, not guilty on all counts. The gallery erupted. Ridge Forrester rose up and exclaimed, "This is bullshit," before his lawyers hauled him out. Hope sat still, staring at DEKE as if she were witnessing a ghost. DEKE did not move. He simply closed his eyes and felt something inside him burst open, not with relief, but with the weight of being alive when Luna was not. Outside, the cameras waited as always. Someone inquired if he felt vindicated. He paused on the courthouse steps, where the tomato had struck him months before. I was driving the car, he explained. I will always drive the car. Nothing that transpired in there alters that. Then he walked away, past the posters of Luna's face, the people screaming that justice had died with her, and the life he once had. Years later, people would occasionally identify him. In grocery stores, gas stations, and even on a flight to New York, where the flight attendant murmured, "I followed the trial. I'm pleased you're okay." He had no idea what to say to that. He relocated to a quiet town in Oregon, where no one was concerned about fashion empires or tabloid curses. He got a puppy and named it Gardenia. Every year on the anniversary, he drove to the spot on Mulholland where it happened and left a single white rose on the guardrail. He never stayed long, just long enough to say her name aloud and let the wind carry it. And somewhere, in the city that never forgave or forgot, Luna Spencer remained 24 eternally, laughing in photographs and reaching for something just out of frame, while the lad who loved her carried the weight of her absence like a second skeleton wherever he went. Some stories finish without justice or punishment. They just end with a faint thump and a name that no one has ever heard correctly, echoing down a dark road long after the headlights have turned off.